Tom's romantic dinner disaster. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are heading back into the mansion's kitchen, but this time, the stakes are completely different. Tom is not just hunting for food, he is in love. In today's story, Tom has invited his beautiful lady cat girlfriend over for a fancy, romantic dinner. He is wearing a white chef's hat, cooking a delicious soup, and he wants everything to be absolutely perfect. He thinks he can show off his amazing culinary skills. But as you know, Jerry lives in this kitchen too. And when Tom refuses to share any of the delicious food, Jerry decides to become the ultimate kitchen saboteur. Get ready for flying soup, exploding ovens, and a dinner date that ends in absolute chaos. Listen closely to the action. And let's see how this romantic evening turns into a complete kitchen catastrophe. Scene 1. The fancy chef and the secret ingredient. The kitchen smells absolutely incredible. Tom is standing by the stove, stirring a giant silver pot of creamy mushroom soup with a long wooden spoon. He tastes it, sprinkles a little bit of salt with a dramatic gesture, and smiles happily. On the dining table, there are white candles, beautiful flowers, and classical music playing softly from the radio. His girlfriend is sitting gracefully, waiting for her meal. Jerry peeks out from underneath the kitchen cabinet. His mouth is watering. He sneaks up the back of the stove, grabs a tiny spoon, and tries to scoop a bit of soup from the pot. But Tom catches him. Tom glares at Jerry, snaps his fingers, and flicks Jerry right off the counter with his wooden spoon. Jerry lands hard inside the empty garbage can. Jerry climbs out, covered in potato peelings, and he is furious. He wants revenge. While Tom is busy setting the table and flirting with his girlfriend, Jerry sneaks back onto the spice rack. He grabs the hottest, most dangerous spice in the house, a giant jar of pure red chili powder. With a mischievous grin, Jerry opens the lid and dumps the entire jar directly into Tom's beautiful soup. Scene 2. The spicy soup and the fire alarm. Tom returns to the stove, completely unaware of Jerry's trick. He proudly ladles the red-hot soup into a fancy porcelain bowl and serves it to his girlfriend with a deep bow. She takes an elegant silver spoon, dips it into the soup, and takes a sip. For 2 seconds, everything is quiet. Then, suddenly, her face turns bright red. Her eyes pop out of her head, and literal steam starts shooting out of her ears. She lets out a wild scream, jumps off her chair, and drinks the entire vase of flower water, just to cool her mouth down. She glares at Tom, slams her purse directly into his face, and storms out of the mansion, slamming the front door behind her. Tom is completely heartbroken and utterly confused. He looks at the soup, takes a big spoonful, and swallows it to see what went wrong. Instantly, Tom's eyes turn into literal fireballs. He screams in pain, his tongue swelling up like a giant red balloon. He runs around the kitchen at full speed, looking for water. Jerry is sitting safely on top of the refrigerator, holding a cold bottle of milk, waving it at Tom and laughing hysterically. Scene 3. The great oven explosion. Tom manages to stop the burning in his mouth by sticking his head directly under the kitchen sink faucet. Now, he is not just heartbroken, he is looking for blood. He looks up and sees Jerry laughing at him. Tom grabs a heavy rolling pin and lunges at the refrigerator. Jerry leaps away just in time, sliding down the kitchen counter. Tom chases him, swinging the rolling pin wildly, smashing plates, teacups, and glasses along the way. Jerry dives into the open oven to hide. Tom sees this, grins wickedly, and slams the heavy iron oven door shut, locking Jerry inside. He turns the oven dial all the way up to maximum heat, but Jerry is 10 steps ahead. Inside the dark oven, he finds a gas pipeline. He untwists the valve, fills the oven with gas, and escapes through a tiny ventilation hole at the back. Tom is leaning against the oven door, laughing, thinking he has finally won. Suddenly, he smells gas. He looks down at the pilot light. Boom! A massive explosion rocks the entire kitchen. The oven door flies off, and Tom is blasted backwards. crashing directly into the wall. Outro. By the time the smoke clears, the romantic kitchen looks like a battlefield. The walls are completely black with soot. The beautiful dinner table is broken in half, and Tom is stuck inside the drywall, looking like a burnt marshmallow with his chef's hat dripping with ruined soup. And where is Jerry? He has moved the classical radio into his little wall hole. He is sitting on a tiny sofa, eating a perfectly toasted piece of cheese from the kitchen wreckage, and relaxing in the quiet apartment. It turns out romance can be very dangerous, especially when you forget to be nice to the kitchen mouse. Thank you so much for listening to today's culinary disaster. If you loved this spicy kitchen chase and want to hear more high-energy storytelling episodes to practice your B1-B2 listening, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Tom deserved to lose his date, or was Jerry being too mean this time? Tell me your thoughts, and I will see you in our next animated adventure. Catch you later.
The Haunted Mansion Mystery. Imagine this. It is a dark, freezing, and stormy night. Rain is pouring down heavily, and lightning is splitting the sky open. Tom and Jerry were traveling when their car broke down, forcing them to run inside the only shelter they could find, a massive, ancient, and completely abandoned Gothic mansion on top of a lonely hill. Tom thinks they are just hiding from the rain. Jerry thinks it's a great place to find old snacks, but both of them are completely wrong. This house is filled with creepy moving statues, hidden trapdoors, and mysterious shadows that move when you aren't looking. Get ready for the ultimate test of survival, where a cat and a mouse must navigate the scariest night of their lives. Listen closely to the massive chain of events, trap the vocabulary, and let's enter the haunted mansion. Scene 1. The creaking doors and the living statue. A heavy wooden front door slams shut behind them with a loud, echoing bang. The lock turns all by itself. Tom jumps 3 feet into the air and clings to a dusty coat rack, his tail puffed up like a toilet brush. Jerry stands on the cold stone floor, shivering from the damp air, looking up at the massive cobwebs hanging from the grand chandelier. The only light comes from the flashes of lightning outside the tall, broken windows. Tom carefully steps down from the coat rack and tries to open the door, but it is completely jammed. He is trapped. He lets out a nervous whimper and looks around the grand entrance hall. Sitting right in the center of the hall is a giant, silver suit of armor holding a sharp medieval axe. Tom walks past it very slowly, keeping his back against the wall. Suddenly, the suit of armor raises its heavy metal arm. Creak! It drops the giant axe right down, missing Tom's nose by a millimeter. Thud! The axe embeds itself deeply into the wooden floor. Tom's eyes turn into saucers. He drops to his knees, his heart beating so fast you can actually see it bouncing through his fur. But wait, he hears a tiny giggle. He looks up to the top of the metal helmet. Jerry is sitting right inside the visor, holding a small rope connected to the armor's arm mechanism. It wasn't a ghost at all. It was Jerry playing a terrifying prank. Tom's fear instantly turns into pure anger. He grabs a heavy iron fireplace poker and charges up the metal suit to catch that mischievous mouse. Scene 2. The infinite hallway and the moving portrait dives down the neck of the armor and escapes through the bottom, running straight into the mansion's main hallway. This hallway is incredibly long, lined with dozens of old, dusty oil paintings of grumpy-looking ancestors. Tom is right behind him, his heavy footsteps echoing down the corridor as he swings the iron poker. Jerry runs past a portrait of a sailor with an incredibly long mustache. As soon as Jerry passes it, the eyes of the painting move. They track Jerry, and then look directly at Tom. Suddenly, a real, physical wooden leg kicks right out of the canvas. Whack! It hits Tom perfectly in the stomach, sending him rolling down the hallway like a bowling ball. Tom crashes into a pile of old cardboard boxes and groans. He looks back at the painting, but the wooden leg is gone, and the sailor looks completely normal again. Tom rubs his head, thinking the house is truly playing tricks on his mind. He stands up, but as he does, the floor beneath him begins to tilt. It's a giant trapdoor. Before Tom can jump away, the wooden planks swing open, and he plunges down into the dark abyss of the mansion's basement. Ah! His scream gets quieter and quieter until a loud splash echoes from below. Jerry walks over to the edge of the trapdoor, looks down into the darkness, and dusts off his hands with a satisfied smile. But the mystery of the mansion is far from over. Scene 3. The basement organ and the final scare down in the basement. Tom lands directly inside a massive old wooden barrel full of cold rainwater. He splutters, climbs out, and finds himself in a massive underground chamber. In the corner of the room sits a gigantic pipe organ, the kind of massive musical instrument you see in old vampire movies. Suddenly, the organ starts playing all by itself. The deep, terrifying musical notes vibrate through Tom's entire skeleton. He looks up at the keys, and sitting on the bench is a giant shadow wearing a black cape and a scary mask. The shadow turns around and lets out a demonic, high-pitched laugh. Tom loses his mind. He doesn't even try to fight. He runs up the stone steps, breaks through the basement door using his own shoulder, and sprints across the living room. The caped shadow follows him, flying across the floor at incredible speed. Tom runs into the dining room, slips on the long white tablecloth, pulls all the silver plates and candelabras down with him, and crashes straight through the front window, breaking the glass and flying out into the rainy night. He runs down the hill so fast he leaves a trail of smoke behind him in the rain. Back in the dining room, the caped monster stops. It reaches up and pulls off the scary mask. It's Spike the Bulldog, and riding on his shoulder is Jerry, holding a remote control that was operating a rolling skateboard under Spike's cape. Spike and Jerry share a high five, laughing loudly at how easily they scare Tom out of the house. They sit down at the grand dining table, open a fresh can of dog food and a big block of cheese, and enjoy the cozy, quiet storm inside their newly conquered haunted mansion. Outro. What an absolute roller coaster of a night. Our mega episode ends with poor Tom running through the thunderstorm in his bare paws, absolutely convinced that he just survived a real haunted house. Meanwhile, the real monsters Jerry and Spike are living like kings inside the warm mansion, enjoying a midnight snack. This story shows us exactly why Tom and Jerry is the ultimate classic. It doesn't matter if they are in a kitchen, a golf course, or a scary old castle. The comedy, the clever pacing, and the incredible traps never get old. If you manage to follow this entire long story from the beginning to the end, your intermediate B1-B2 listening comprehension is getting incredibly sharp. You are doing a fantastic job. If you want to keep practicing, try explaining your favorite part of this haunted house story to a friend in English. Don't forget to hit that big like button. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss our mega animated stories. And tell me in the comments, what was the funniest trap in this episode? Was it the suit of armor or the moving painting?
The Mega Amusement Park Chase. Picture this, it's a bright, noisy, and colourful weekend afternoon at the city's biggest amusement park. The air is filled with the sweet smell of popcorn and cotton candy. Upbeat music is playing from the speakers, and people are screaming with excitement on the massive roller coasters. Tom is working as the park's official security cat, wearing a little blue officer hat and a shiny gold badge. He thinks his job is just to walk around and look important. But then he spots Jerry running out of a popcorn machine with a giant kernel in his hands. What follows is the biggest, craziest chase in amusement park history. We are talking about high-speed train tracks, dangerous Ferris wheel climbs, and a total disaster in the bumper car arena. Listen closely to the massive chain of events, focus on the story, and let's enter the park. Scene 1, the cotton candy trap and the bumper car arena chase begins right in front of the giant, spinning cotton candy machine. Jerry is running at top speed, holding a bag of popcorn, while Tom is sprinting right behind him, waving his security nightstick. Jerry looks back, sees Tom getting closer, and makes a sharp turn around a large trash can. Tom tries to turn too, but his big paws slip on some spilled soda, and he slides sideways straight into the giant spinning bowl of pink cotton candy. The machine spins Tom around and around at lightning speed. 2 seconds later, Tom flies out of the machine, completely covered from head to toe in sticky, fluffy pink sugar. He looks like a giant, walking pink monster. Jerry stops, points at Tom, and laughs so hard he rolls on the floor. Tom angrily rips the sugar off his eyes, lets out a loud hiss, and lunges forward. Jerry dives under a metal gate and runs straight into the bumper car arena. Tom follows him, jumps into a bright red bumper car, steps on the gas pedal, and drives fast toward Jerry. But Jerry is too smart. He hops into a yellow car, grabs the steering wheel, and pulls a secret lever under the dashboard. Suddenly, all the other empty bumper cars in the arena turn on by themselves. They begin driving in circles like crazy robots. Crash! Bam! Tom's red car is hit from the left, then from the right, and then flip completely upside down. Tom is left spinning on the floor like a giant metal top, his eyes flashing in circles. While Jerry, driving his yellow car, calmly exits the arena. Scene 2, the Ferris wheel climb and the mirror Mason crawls out of the broken bumper car. His security hat completely squished, but his determination is higher than ever. He looks up and sees Jerry climbing up the iron structure of the giant Ferris wheel. Tom spits out a piece of pink cotton candy and starts climbing the metal bars like a professional wildcat, moving up higher and higher into the sky. The wind is blowing hard up there. Jerry reaches the very top cabin, where a fancy couple is enjoying the view. Jerry taps on the window, waves politely, and then jumps onto the electrical wire connecting the cabins. Tom reaches the top, expands his claws, and tries to walk across the thin wire like a tightrope walker. Jerry pulls a small pair of scissors from his pocket and looks at Tom with a mischievous grin. Snip! Jerry cuts the wire. The heavy cable swings down like a giant pendulum. Tom lets out a terrified scream as he swings through the air, completely losing his grip, and flies straight through the glass doors of the park's famous mirror maze. Tom lands on his feet inside the maze, dizzy but unhurt. He looks around and sees 10 Jerrys staring at him. He growls and smashes his hands against the glass, but it's just a reflection. He turns around and sees another Jerry, lunges forward, and bang, hits his forehead directly against a solid mirror. He tries again and again, hitting his nose, his chin, and his knees on the hidden glass walls. Meanwhile, the real Jerry is standing at the actual exit of the maze, eating a box of raisins, watching Tom fight his own reflections. Scene 3, the high-speed roller coaster Finaltum finally stumbles out of the mirror maze. With a giant purple bump on his forehead and his nose completely swollen, he is done playing games. He sees Jerry running across the wooden platform of the biggest, scariest roller coaster in the park, the Behemoth. Jerry jumps right into the very front seat of the empty train. Tom sprints down the platform and leaps into the back seat just as the green light flashes. CHUG chug chug. The roller coaster train begins to climb the massive, vertical hill, moving higher and higher until the people below look like tiny ants. Tom looks down and instantly regrets his decision. His fur turns completely white with fear. The train reaches the peak, pauses for one terrifying second, and then drops straight down at 90 miles per hour. Swoosh! The wind screams in Tom's ears, and his cheeks fly back from the speed. Jerry is in the front seat, putting his hands in the air, enjoying the ride like a true champion. The train goes into a giant loop-de-loop, turning upside down. Tom loses his grip on the safety bar and flies out of his seat. He drops through the air and lands perfectly on the very back track of the roller coaster. He looks up and sees the train coming back down the track right toward him. Tom runs for his life along the narrow wooden tracks, his legs moving like a cartoon blur. With the giant metal train chasing him down the hills and through the tunnels, he runs so fast that he shoots off the end of the track, flies through the air over the park gates, and lands directly inside a massive truck full of soft, wet mattress foam outside the park. The truck drives away down the highway, taking a defeated, exhausted Tom with it. OUTRO. And that brings us to the end of our biggest, wildest amusement park adventure. Poor Tom started the day as a proud security officer and ended it inside a moving mattress truck, completely covered in pink sugar, sand, and bruises. And Jerry. Jerry walks over to the park's prize booth, uses a giant token he found on the floor, and wins the biggest plush teddy bear in the entire park. He sits on top of the teddy bear's head, opens a fresh bag of hot popcorn, and watches the beautiful sunset over the Ferris wheel. Another massive victory for our clever little friend.
The mega shopping mall chaos. Picture this. It's 10 o'clock p.m., and the city's biggest luxury shopping mall has just closed its doors for the night. The lights are dimmed, the crowds are gone, and the long glass hallways are completely quiet. Tom has hidden inside a clothing store to spend the night there, thinking he can sleep on a comfortable display bed. But as he walks past the grand food court, he spots Jerry opening a giant box of glazed donuts behind a bakery counter. Tom realizes there is no security guard around to stop him, so he decides to launch the ultimate midnight hunt. What follows is a spectacular chase involving speeding skateboards, runaway escalators, and a massive battle inside a giant toy store. Listen closely to the fast-paced story, focus on the vocabulary, and let's enter the mall. Scene 1. The escalator battle and the sports store trampolinathy chase begins in the center of the mall's grand atrium. Jerry grabs a chocolate donut and runs as fast as his little legs can carry him toward the escalators. Tom is sprinting right behind him, his claws clicking loudly on the polished marble floor. Jerry jumps onto the escalator going up to the second floor. Tom leaps onto the escalator right next to it to cut him off, but he doesn't realize that this escalator is moving down. Tom starts running up the steps, but the machine is moving faster than him. He runs harder, his tongue hanging out, moving like a treadmill. Jerry reaches the top floor, sits down on the handrail, and watches Tom struggle. Tom gives one final, desperate sprint, reaches the very top step, but his foot catches on the metal comb. Trip! He goes flying forward, tumbling down the moving stairs like a giant furry ball. Hitting every single step on the way down, Tom crashes at the bottom, his eyes spinning, but he immediately gets back up and runs up the normal stairs. Jerry dives into a massive sports department store. Tom follows him inside, looking around the dark aisles. Suddenly, Jerry drops down from a high shelf directly onto a professional sports trampoline. Boing! Jerry flies high into the air, lands on a basketball hoop, and waves at Tom. Tom grins, thinks this is easy, and jumps onto the trampoline with all his might. Booing! Tom shoots up like a rocket, but he hits the ceiling tile instead. He gets stuck in the roof for a second, before falling straight back down into a massive pyramid of soccer balls, scattering them all over the store. Scene 2. The toy store invasion and the remote control war. Jerry uses the distraction to escape into the biggest store on the second floor. Mega Toy World. This place is a paradise for a clever mouse. Jerry hops inside a large, battery-powered monster truck, turns on the headlights, and drives it right out into the aisle. Tom enters the store, still shaking soccer balls out of his fur, and sees the toy truck speeding straight toward his ankles. Crunch! The monster truck hits Tom's feet, making him hop up and down in pain. Jerry reverses the truck, spins the wheels, and chases Tom down the aisle. Tom runs for his life, dodging giant teddy bears and Lego castles. He manages to climb up a display shelf and finds a large remote control console sitting on the counter. It connects to a high-tech drone helicopter hanging from the ceiling. Tom grabs the joystick and turns the machine on. Whir! The plastic blades spin up, and Tom flies the helicopter right toward Jerry's truck. Tom presses a button, and the helicopter begins firing tiny plastic suction cup darts. Pop! 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 Jerry ducks inside the toy car as darts hit the windshield. Jerry looks around, finds another remote control in the passenger seat, and activates a giant mechanical robot dinosaur on the next shelf. The dinosaur's eyes light up red. It lets out a loud electronic roar, and it steps right onto Tom's shelf, chomping its plastic jaws down on Tom's tail. Tom lets out a high-pitched scream, drops his controller, and falls off the shelf into a giant pool of colorful plastic slime. Scene 3. The skateboard finale and the display window. Tom crawls out of the green slime, looking like a swamp monster for the second time today. He wipes the goo off his face and looks out into the main mall corridor. Jerry has abandoned the toy truck and is now riding a sleek, silver skateboard, coasting down the smooth marble hallway like a professional skater. Tom grabs a pair of rollerblades from the sports section, snaps them onto his paws, and shoots out of the store like a cannonball. He is moving incredibly fast now, gaining on Jerry with every second. They speed past the jewelry stores, past the cinema, and head straight toward the grand glass elevator in the center of the mall. Jerry approaches the edge of the top floor balcony. He jumps off the skateboard, grabs the long wire of a giant hanging banner, and swings across the empty air like Tarzan. The empty skateboard keeps rolling straight toward the edge. Tom, who is moving way too fast on his rollerblades, tries to brake, but his wheels hit the rolling skateboard. Whoosh! Tom loses all control. He flies over the balcony railing, soaring through the empty air of the mall. He falls 3 floors down, crashing straight through the glass display window of a high-end mattress store. Crash! He lands perfectly on a giant pile of super soft, luxury pillows. The mall's automatic alarm system goes off. Lights flash red, and sirens begin to wail. Tom is too exhausted to move. He just pulls a blanket over his head and falls fast asleep on the display bed. Outdrone. That brings us to the end of our midnight shopping mall disaster. Poor Tom started the night looking for a quiet place to sleep and ended up crashing through a glass window, triggering a full security lockdown. And Jerry? Jerry has climbed safely into the mall's giant central fountain. He uses his donut as a floating device, floating happily in the water, sipping a juice box he found in the food court. He listens to the sirens, completely relaxed, enjoying another flawless victory over poor Tom.